Hello, everybody. I just wanted to be able to make a quick video for those of you that couldn't be here today or that for some reason otherwise missed, to be able to tell you the concept that we talked about on this, our second virtual meeting in the School District of Philadelphia's Philadelphia Public League virtual fall season in preparation for our eventual outdoor season. We started off with a little icebreaker game where you were guessing little things, and it was kind of like just for fun. But the key at the very end, as we were waiting for every single player to be successful in guessing what the thing was that we were trying to guess on this icebreaker game, was that we have to support each other. And sometimes you have to give each other hints, and sometimes you have to help each other. And on the field, sometimes you have to help your opponents be able to be successful by helping them with terms and helping them with skills and things like that. Yes, I understand that starters don't want to lose their positions. So when you are helping somebody, there's a chance that they could end up getting better than you. But we also have to remember that soccer is a team sport. It's not an individual sport, it's a team sport. And in order for the team to be successful, you sometimes have to help each other be able to get better. So it's really important to be sisters and very important to be good teammates and show great cooperation. After that, we did a little guessing game about what athlete would Mr. Carra be thinking of. And I was thinking about Abby Wambach. And then I gave a brief history and bio of who Abby Wambach was for those people that didn't know who she is. And the really, really short version for this video, you can look her up. She's basically one of the greatest of all time, and she's the all-time leading scorer in U.S. soccer history, men or women, and she's second place for women internationally. She was just beaten by a Canadian player last year. You should look up who that is and let me know. Leave a comment if you want to be getting some extra credit points. But in any case, not that you're getting graded for this, but you get the idea. So anyway, we went on to there, and from there, we went and we talked about the keys to winning soccer. And what we ended up seeing was that there are several keys to winning soccer. It would be great if I actually showed this to you. And these aren't in any particular order. They can be argued that they're all equally as important, but this is what the 6 keys to winning soccer are. If you played last year, then you've heard me say these things in no uncertain terms over and over and over again. But the first thing I want to say to you is you have to get to the ball first. You can't wait for it. You really can't wait for it. One of the big differences between quality A-level teams and B-level teams and C-level teams and rec league teams is their anticipation of moving to the ball. They do not wait for the ball to come to them. They go to the ball, or they go to space on where the ball is. So getting to the ball first. You have to work on 50-50s, being able to get to balls when you are challenging with another opponent. So 2 people, you and somebody from the other team, are both trying to get to the ball. So that's a 50-50 ball. You need to get to it first. Sent balls, so either your team or another team just kicks it down the field into a corner or something. They're not really passing it, they're just sending it. Perhaps it's a clear, perhaps it was meant to do that on an attack, but they just send it. So you got to get to that sent ball before the other team does. And also loose balls, and a loose ball would be anything else. So maybe it was supposed to be a pass and it didn't go to its target. Or maybe it was a pass in the space, but nobody's near it. So maybe I'm anticipating the play and I pass it in front of where I think one of my teammates is going, but they didn't get there yet. Then the other team is trying to get to that ball first. So even though it's so simple, it's almost elementary school simple, like 5-year-olds are taught this, get to the ball first. So often that separates a decent team from a good team, and it definitely separates the good teams from the great teams. The teams that are great, they are great only because they're able to get to the ball first and do these other keys successfully better than their opponents. Number 2 is first touch. You hear me say, one of my cliche words I say all the time is first touch is essential. And that basically means when the ball first comes to you, or when you make your first touch on the ball to be able to pass it to somebody else, you need to be able to control the ball at all times. Your first touch is the most important touch, because if the ball comes to you and it hits off your foot and your foot's really hard and it's not soft, then the ball's going to be out in front of you or off to the side, and you're not going to know where to go. Along with that, if you're ready to make your pass, it might not be exactly your first touch, but your primary touch for your pass to be able to send it to somebody else. How you touch that ball is going to determine where the ball ends up and if it goes in the direction you planned on sending it. So first touch is essential. You have to be able to control the ball. So far we have get to the ball first and control the ball with your first touch. Third thing I want you to remember is positioning. That's offensive off the ball, and that's defensive positioning as well. Offensive off the ball, so somebody on our team has the ball, we have to run ourselves into positions that is making it so that our teammate has options. Our teammate has places to be able to pass the ball. And one of our students always talks about a specific drill called the triangle passing drill. It's really a warm-up drill for fundamentals, and it helps to teach you about anticipating moving into space, moving into the proper area, positioning so that your teammate has options. A teammate with a ball should always have at least 2 options to pass to. If they have less than 2 options and they're not on a breakaway when they're an offensive player, then everybody else in your team is in the wrong spot. You should always have at least 2 options. And ideally, if you're all in the right position, then a passer should be able to move their body around the ball and be able to have 2, 3, and 4 options to decide who to pass to. So positioning offensively off the ball, super important. Defensively also, I always am constantly telling you, one of our players today pointed this out out loud in the Zoom class, that I'm always pointing out that you need to be goal side. So a defensive mark needs to block that person from being able to get to your ball. They should either go around you or through you. So they should not have a clear path to your goal. So you should always be marking goal side. There's passive marking and there's active marking. A lot of coaches will teach passive marking, which is sort of like playing a zone defense where you back up a little bit and you give the attacker a little bit of space so that you can anticipate where they're going and you sort of force them to go to one side or the other. Active marking means like you're right on top of them. You should be able to smell what they had for breakfast on their breath. A phrase that one of my co-coaches in the past for when I coached at Fox Chase Soccer Club used to say is you need to be in their pocket, right? You're that close to them that you're not only annoying, you're not pushing them or anything. You might be leaning into them a little bit with your shoulder, but you are so close to them marking that they have no choice but to either make a fabulous move to get around you or pass the ball to somebody else so you did your job. So active marking, you should be no further than 1 arm's length away from them. And that actually is one of the main reasons why the public league soccer is not being able to play right now. One, they're not going to allow any sports to play because of COVID, but also because it is a contact sport. It's not a collision sport like American football, but it is a contact sport. You should be touching each other. You should be right in each other's personal space to be able to be successful. So offensive and defensive positioning. Always be in the right place at every time and you'll be successful. Number 4, and probably the most important thing other than having fundamentals and knowledge of the game, is playing fast. You've got to play faster than the rest of than who you're playing against. Play faster than your opponents. You can be great at the fundamentals. You can be great at passing. You can be great at receiving. You can be great at trapping. You can be great at volleying. You can be great at everything. But if you can't do it at game speed, if you can't do it faster than your opponents want to do it, then you can't be successful in soccer. And again, traditionally, our team isn't the fastest in the league. So when you play against a similar speed team, you oftentimes do very well. When you play against a more experienced team that's better than you at the skills you do and can do them faster, then that's when we run into problems. So the 4 keys, going back in time really fast, starting it off, is get to the ball first, control, or specifically first touch, positioning on and off the ball, offensively and defensively, and playing fast. There's 2 more things though, and these are actually out of order, so I'm going to say one real fast, then come back to it. So one thing is fitness, your aerobic and muscular conditioning. We're gonna come back to that. And finally, it's communication. It should be active, it should be ongoing. If you ever watched a soccer game and especially one lately with COVID that doesn't have people in the stands, you hear people talking. The U.S. women's national team, you really hear them talking. They communicate way better than the men do. And some people say it's because the men anticipate more about going into space. They sort of just play hard and play silent and they already know, but I disagree. I think that the women's national team, one of the reasons why they're so good is not just because they're the most skilled team in the world and not just because they are one of the faster teams in the world and better at everything and getting to the ball first and positioning and fundamentals, et cetera, et cetera. They communicate. You hear them. You hear them when you're watching that game. And you can go onto YouTube and watch college level soccer or professional level soccer, and you will hear the girls talking. So if you play on a club team and you don't talk enough, then right away you need to start talking more. And on this team, we definitely don't talk enough. We need to hear everyone communicating, asking for help, telling people where to go, telling people how to support each other, telling people where the pass is running. And yeah, the other team might hear you, but it's okay. I want you to be also using vocabulary, which we'll speak about in a future class, such as trail and square and through and cross and pick up the mark and things like that. So we'll learn those vocabulary before you actually get into a game or review them for those of you that know them. But we should need to do this. Going backwards, we talked about fitness and aerobic and muscular conditioning. And I absolutely say every single year that in the off season, in the spring and in the early summer, you need to be on a ball and you need to be running. And that's extremely important for you to be able to be successful. This coming season, more so than other seasons, I can tell you that we will literally not have time enough to get you in shape. You absolutely are going to have to get in physical conditioning in terms of aerobic capacity, your heart and lungs, and in terms of muscular conditioning prior to our live practices beginning. That if everything goes well with COVID, we'll be starting in the middle of February or so at that time. You absolutely have got to make sure that you have a starting point that's further along than it normally is in August. And that goes with fundamentals, practice, training, and conditioning. The link to this slideshow is in the comments. If you're another coach or another player someplace and you just want to use this for your own students or your own players, then go ahead and take it. You can also take this link and of course adapt it to your own. But if you click on the fundamentals, practice, training, and conditioning words, what it does is send you to a multi-page handout, which was last revised in July of 2019, which basically is our warm-up. It's basically our warm-up in fundamentals. It only has the drills that we typically do all of the time as a routine, the ones that you should kind of know like the back of your hand already. But, you know, in any case, it's divided into sections. Part A is a fitness warm-up with no ball. It includes light running, light jogging, a bunch of different stretches. It also includes items for your stretching that can go and protect your knees and protect your hamstrings specifically. So things that you can look at with that, ACL protection, so to speak. And then as you progress through, it goes on fundamentals, warm-ups that you can do by yourself or warm-ups that you can do with a partner. Part B is pretty much by yourself. Alone, you can do these things. Part C is with a partner. When you get a little bit further, part D talks about what happens afterwards. So there's a variety of drills, there's a variety of skills, there's a variety of things that you can do which focus on fundamentals. I also would like to point out to you really fast that I recognize that we're in a pandemic. I recognize that this is COVID. So some of you won't be able to leave your home at all to be able to do these things. You can practice some of these things in your home. A lot of you live that you have a basement that has a cement floor. A lot of you have garages. A lot of you have living rooms or space in your bedrooms. You can do some of the ball stuff just in your own home. You can do them, you just get a ball, put it at your feet, and do some of the ball stuff. If you have a wall that you can actually hit a ball off of that's either cement or it's just not going to be injured, it's not drywall or sheetrock, then you can definitely be able to practice some of the stuff that you normally would be doing with passing by yourself off of a wall. If you're able to go outside and be alone, even in this pandemic time, wearing a mask and you can't find a friend, but you do have a cement wall that you're allowed to hit it off of, like the side of a school or something that has no windows in that area, then you should definitely do that. Carly Lloyd, up until she retired, used to go every day when she was back home in Delran and go to her local rec club's gym and play wall ball by herself off the wall. And she was a professional doing this. In terms of cardio in your home, you can go and do exercises that are by yourself, such as mountain climbers and running in place and things like that. You can also use your stairs. Don't run down your stairs, you're gonna fall. But you can run up your stairs, walk down them, run up your stairs, walk down them. You do that 5 times and most of you are gonna be breathing heavy. And then you can increase the amount of time that you're able to do that. Don't do it when people are trying to sleep because you're gonna be making so much noise, but you can definitely do those things. Avoid jumping jacks. I know a lot of you like jumping jacks for cardio. Avoid those. At your age, that's not so great for your knees. And there's a lot of reasons having to do with puberty changes and things like that we don't need to get into on this Zoom, but try to avoid jumping jacks if you can. But you can really practice a lot of those things on this list at home. And if you are allowed to go outside, if you are allowed to meet up with friends, if you are allowed to meet up with teammates, I can't bring you out and make you practice right now. The school district and publicly is not allowing me to do live in-person sessions, and we're not allowed to tell you as a full team to be able to go out and do a session. But if you have a friend, whether it's a friend on our team or a friend on another team, or whether you are, or you have a sibling, or you have a mother or father or aunt or uncle or cousin or a neighbor, or just a friend that doesn't even play, but they can help you with this, go to a park, go to a schoolyard, wear your mask, get your soccer ball down at your feet, right? 10 yards is 30 feet. That's way more than 6 feet distance. And if you're both wearing masks, then that's proper social distancing for fundamentals of soccer practice. It works better if you're playing with your teammates or friends that play soccer, because if they're just as good as you or if they're better than you, that'll motivate you more. If they're not quite as good as you, then you can help them get better, and then the two of you can improve together. So if you have an opportunity to, go and practice, get your touches on the ball, and absolutely start some sort of cardio program. If you can go outside, interval style running is best. One of our students showed you an app about how to be able to run 5K, which is the equivalent of 3.1 miles. And you start off really slow and you end up building it up. So you can download an app about how to run a 5K. You can email me or leave me a message in the Google Classroom. I can give you ideas on how to start. But all you need to do is take it one step at a time and go slow with this. The only other thing that we mentioned in today's class was about attitude. And really, there's a difference between liking soccer and loving soccer. And I said, if you don't really like it at all, then you shouldn't play anymore. And if you like it and it's just something to do and it's kind of fun and you just want to be part of something, then that's great. Please do that. But if you love the sport, then you should show that you love the sport. You should show that you love this sport, and you should have an attitude that you want it, that you want to get better. And this training, this running, this cardio program, this on the ball touches, this isn't extra work. This is something that you enjoy doing. It should be a passion, and it should be that you want to be, when we start our real practices, it should be that you want to be the first one to practice and the last one to leave. It shouldn't be, oh, so-and-so came late, so I can come late. It doesn't matter. No, your attitude should be, I want to be the first one there, and I want to be the last one to leave. And that's what it should be every single time. If you have questions for me, please let me know. Otherwise, I'll hope to see you all on the next Zoom meeting on Monday, and also next Wednesday. We have 2 next week, and we're going to work on vocabulary one of those days, and we're going to work on trivia one of the other days about rules and things, so that the more experienced girls can help the more beginner girls be able to understand and know everything. All right? Have a great rest of your day. Thank you for joining us.